My name's Bruce Shillingsworth. I'm a Morawari budgety man. I'm from a small town called Brewarrina. It's where the Darling River starts. Today I want to speak about a lot of the stuff that's happening around our environment in the world today. The racism and discrimination. If we go back 250 years in this continent of Australia, First Nation people have been living here for 80, 90,000 years plus. In the world, in the environment, that Mother Earth sustained us for so many years. And then all of a sudden we were introduced to the early contacts, and that created a lot of suffering for First Nation people. The landing of our settlers, the early conflicts, the wars between the early settlers and First Nation people that devastated this country. The blood that still stains the land of Australia. First Nation people were massacred right across this big continent. The war was again over land. The early settlers wanted the land to settle, and the Aboriginal people just wanted their land to survive and live. So then if you fast forward to 2020 now, we live now, over those many of years, Aboriginal people have suffered. They resisted a lot of the persecution, still suffering from a lot of the racism and discrimination that's happening. If you look right across Australia, my grandchildren are suffering from the policies that affected my people hundreds of years ago. So how do we deal with that? How we deal with a system that's rooted in racism and discrimination. Myself and my children we experienced some of this stuff through our lifetime. But if it's systematically, we need to start changing our system, the system where we live, the laws and the policy that's govern us. And I believe that our government and our leaders in this country need to take heed and listen to what First Nation people are saying. Now First Nation people and non-Indigenous people are coming together to realising that the system have failed not just us, but all people here and all people all over the world. So that's what we need to deal with. We need proper leaders. We need people in there that'll make good laws, proper policies and good rules that'll govern us. We now in Australia need to live together. We live in a part of history that we can make a change, and I believe that we can do it. It is time that we need to start working on our future direction, our future pathway.
And tell us about the river.
On our river, where I come from, a place called Brewarrina, the Darling River starts. The Darling runs into the Big Murray. Over the last 10 or 15 years, our rivers have been dry. That's because of the big irrigation, the big agriculture, the big pumps that are pumping out all the water and have been stored privately owned by big companies, not just here in Australia, but companies from overseas. And that's what devastated a lot of our community. Without the water, no one survives. Water is life. First Nation people have lived on those waterways and rivers for a long, long time. Now it's been devastated. It's a failure on our government and the people that are managing our rivers. We need to now stand together to support our communities, the 40 Aboriginal nation that lives along the waterways, and the farmers, small farmers and the people that relies on the water. Water now has become a commodity. It is used to sell, they're selling it and auctioning it, and my First Nation people are now missing out. Where are our rights to water? Where are First Nation rights to water? We need to save our communities. Without water, those communities will just die out and they'll be forgotten.